Hey, fellow diet rebel scum. Are you someone who's turned the food pyramid upside down? Or are you curious? Are you diet rebel scum curious? Well, all right. Welcome. This is my third video, and I'd like to give a shout out to my first actual subscriber. You know, I've just been throwing out this content, just loading just a few things, getting some practice. I wanted to launch this channel for years, and I practiced. I tried to do it like maybe a real formal thing with a lot of editing and stuff like that. And then, you know what? That's a lot of trouble, and I admire the people who do it. But man, it's just too much. I've got a regular full-time job and a spouse and aging parents that gotta kind of help take care of. And this is what seems to be really attractive, and it's attractive to me too, is the low production value kind of channels like Carnivore, Dr. Sean Baker. I mean, for the longest time, his videos were just him, I think, just talking to his phone. And that's how he was for the first several years. And I thought he was just fine. He's to the point. His video is real short. Now, I'm a long-winded, blathering, go off on tangent kind of person, but I think I'm getting better. So this video here, shout out to my first subscriber. See what I mean? See what I mean? I'm a little bit of a scatterbrain. I'm hoping low-carb dieting, real discipline, will tone that down a bit. I think it has already. But, so, I think his name was My Passive, what was his name? Oh dear, I just saw it. My Passive Freedom. Yeah. One of my chime-in videos, just accountability buddy videos, first couple I've uploaded over the last couple of days. Just a promise for me I'll be low carb. I won't cheat, because I'm going to tell you about it if I do. And that's the kind of video I kind of need to do every day. It helps keep me honest and keeps me from the ice cream binges. But hey, shout out to you, My Passive Freedom. He gave me a comment and a subscribe. So, that's freaking awesome. So, hope to see you in the future. This is a get to know me video. So I've done a couple of just, from my bicycle as I'm riding to work, and at the end of a run. That was my second one this morning. And I just want to say hello, and you can see what kind of guy I am. I am a 53-year-old Generation Xer from Middle America, Oklahoma. I've always lived here, and here in Oklahoma City. And I was a grunge fan. I thought it'd be kind of funny to got in my old CD collection. So now, I bought these albums when they came out. So this is going to date me here. And I don't know, you may or may not have been into the grunge thing. Nirvana, Nevermind. Right when it was hitting the stores, I got that. Probably within a week that it was out. Alice in Chains, Facelift. Great album. Got that one when it came out too. And then Stone Temple Pilots. Recognize that one? Yeah. I didn't see Stone Temple Pilots live until many, many years later. So, long after Scott Weiland died. So they got a guy replace him. So a couple years ago, the wife got me tickets to see him when they came to Oklahoma City. But now, Nirvana with Kurt Cobain and Alice in Chains with Lane Staley. Now, I saw them in Oklahoma live back in, Alice in Chains was 1994, not long before his early departure from this living earth. Um, and then, Alice in Chains. I think I saw them the same year. They were touring on the album Dirt. So I got those albums too. Now, before that, now at that time, I think I was like 21, 22 years old, something like that. Before that, when I was a little kid, more little like around like 11 years old, I was into like the heavy metal thing, Iron Maiden. I had bought several Iron Maiden records. I remember the first record I bought with my own money. This is like my own money that I scrounged from my parents. And I had a bicycle. I think it was 1984 because it was the Iron Maiden album Power Slave. I remember I didn't even know I don't think did I even know what they sounded like? I think I knew them from MTV, the very early days of MTV. I'm old enough to remember the very first year MTV was out. Me and the other kids on the block had cable, and that's how we spent our summer vacations, was sitting there watching MTV. So that's a little bit about, it has nothing to do with diet or anything, except for, just like all Generation Xers, I was raised on the typical sugar that we were all raised on back then. What cereals did I always ask my parents for? Honeycomb. So my mother did all the shopping, so I'd go to the grocery store with her and we'd go down the cereal aisle. Trix. I kind of like Trix. And here's what's funny. I did like those cereals, of course. But I also liked the healthier ones. And that's kind of because of my dad. So my dad really preached to me about fiber. Because there was a few times as a little kid, maybe 8, 9 years old, I did have a couple of bouts with constipation. And that is a very humbling thing for a child to go through when your parents have to do some invasive action to relieve a constipated colon, So that was, traumatizing to the ego there. And so you don't want to go through that again. And my dad was like, you need fiber to help keep you regular. And, I'm a little kid. But that's when I started. That is when I started going down the whole food pyramid thing. And I don't know, that was about when I just heard on a comment about the first food pyramid was 1980. Was that right? When the food pyramid came out. So this is about that time, they recommend all the whole grains and, tons of carbs, very little fat, very little meat, it still reigns to this day. And anyway, so as a little kid, I was reading those box labels. I would sit there, it was like a hobby. I would sit there and eat my cereal. And one of the healthy ones I liked was Raisin Bran. So I would ask for Raisin Bran. And I would actually mix my cereals too. Because I liked my sugary stuff, but I knew that was not the ideal. The ideal was the high fiber stuff. Oh, Fiber One was another one that was in our household too, quite often. So Raisin Bran, Fiber One, and I would mix that with my honeycombs. And I don't remember doing that with my Trix, but I would mix, I'd get Frosted Flakes also. Frosted Flakes were really sweet. They're frosted, it's in the name. And those were like almost sickening sweet. And I kind of I liked them, but it was like eating candy. A lot of those were like eating candy. But I would mix the Raisin Bran in half and half with the Frosted Flakes. So I was actually health conscious as you could be as a 9-year-old. But what I was trying to avoid was constipation. Let's see. Fast forward a bit. Then I just, we didn't drink a lot of soda pop in our generation back then. It was just I do remember it. The Big Gulp. Okay, 7-Elevens is a convenience store I don't know how widespread 7-Elevens are, if they're a whole nationwide or if they're a regional thing, but here in the South and kind of Midwestish or whatever. There's 7-Eleven is a chain. And they had the Big Gulp. And that was the giant, like 44-ounce cup. I think it was 44 ounces. It was huge. But but before that era, a serving of soft drink was actually pretty small. And we used to get soda pop for home in glass bottles, 1-liter glass bottles, and we get a 6-pack. And of course, as we all know, all of us low carb dieters that are in my age range, we remember when soda pop went from you poured yourself a little glass and it was like half ice. We had big ice cubes in our freezer. We didn't have an ice maker when I was a little kid. We had the big ice trays and it made giant blocks. So half our glass was ice, and that glass was not big. That glass was taller than this. This is the big Yeti mug, coffee mug. I'm drinking decaf here. But the glasses were taller than this, but skinnier. And it was like half ice. So, and we would pour a little bit of, or Coke, Pepsi, whatever it is we were doing, Mountain Dew, do it to it, Mountain Dew, into that glass. And we were maybe only getting like 8 ounces in that glass. And we would just sip that. And all my friends were the same way. We would sit around watching MTV, having our little sip glass. Fast forward just a few years from there. Well, then you go and get these monster servings, like it would be like half of that bottle is now in a cup, and you would drink all that in 30 minutes or whatever it was. And that's how it became. Just servings got way bigger. And that's cool in a way. I can't fault stores for doing that. Here's what I'm not. I'm really not about making people do anything. I really follow this philosophy. You do you, and I'll do me. And the reason I'm like that is because I'm actually an ex-vegetarian. Before I went keto in 2017, the 5 years before that, the first year being a strict vegan, I don't think I even ate honey because it exploited the bees. But I was a strict vegan one year, and then I found myself kind of cheating with cheese now and then, and so I relaxed it after that and said, okay, I'm a lacto-ovo vegetarian. So the dairy and egg, I went ahead and allowed that so I could eat some ice cream now and then, and maybe an omelet on the weekends. That's pretty much what it was. But other than that, I lived on all carbs, no meat, not even fish. And did that for 4 more years. So it was a total of 5 years. And then at the end of that, I mean, I was really into baking my own bread and stuff like. And actually, I did that before I even went lacto-ovo vegetarian. I was health conscious all through that. Oh, here's another thing that I got to put in there. That's my cat. My cat's carnivore. Well, I don't know. They put some fillers in that damn canned cat food. But she does this like meowing fit every night. She's like, I think she's 22 years old now. She's at least 21. But yeah, she's doing really well. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I got to get in my running. So as a little kid, I was health conscious and all that. But I was not an athlete. I was skinny. I was a little skinny kid. And I just never really played sports, but I was forced to kind of. My mom got me, somehow I got into Little League football for like a couple of seasons. Didn't enjoy it. I was not really a go-getter. Most of the other kids were bigger than me. I mean, I wasn't a runt, but I was not, big for my age either. I was just an average skinny kid. But yeah, it was like pee-wee football where I don't think most of us knew what the hell we were doing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But anyway, I didn't start becoming serious about like any kind of athletic endeavor until my senior year in high school. I was skinny fat. I was a metalhead. Like I say, I was like into Iron Maiden. And, it's kind of like the rock stations and everything. But otherwise, I was a nice kid. I didn't get into any trouble or anything. I was just quiet. I looked like a stoner, but I wasn't really. I just looked like it. So I was like a nice metalhead, skinny, 129 pounds back then, 5'10", 5'11". I think I was 5'11" at my maximum. I think I lost an inch over the years. But my senior year, I went out for cross country, and I started running the summer before that because my friend, best friend there was a cross country state champion, two-time cross country state champion, same grade as me, and I didn't even know what this sport was he did. I just knew it was cross country. I knew you ran. I didn't know if you jumped over obstacles or what. And just one day at the very end of 11th grade, I just decided, I think I want to see what it's like to be a jock. So I'm going to go out for a sport. And I was like, I can't throw a ball. I can't. I'm afraid of the ball in baseball. I'd be like somebody get, smash my face and break my eye sockets or something because I'd miss the ball when somebody drilled it at me. And so I'm like, I can't play baseball, not this late. And of course, football is completely out of the question. But I was like, running. Runners are skinny. Maybe I can do that. So I was like, hey, Danny, what's the sport you do? You jump over logs or something? He goes, no, we just run. It's like it's courses usually on grass, sometimes like on golf courses or something, or in parks. And he says, we just run and you just try to go fast. I was like, okay, I like it. I couldn't run one block back then without stopping and walking. Now, when I say running, I mean like running like I was really trying to get somewhere, not just shuffling. So I didn't really know what a fast run was. I mean, I just ran fast playing tag or running after the Frisbee. That's all I knew running to be. That's the only reason I ran, was to do those little activities. So I just took off down my driveway and I got to the end of the block. I remember this. I was like 16 years old or so at the time. Very end of 11th grade. The year wasn't over yet. We hadn't quite hit summer yet, but I just remember running to the end of the block. I got to the corner and I had to stop. And I was huffing, had a cramp already. That's how bad a shape I was in, even though I weighed 129 pounds. So anyway, it didn't take long. I got to where I could run a mile. Now, I'm going to wrap this all up. I went out for cross country the next year. By about midway through cross country season, I made the varsity team. Now, we had a previous state championship team the year before. When I wasn't there, they had won state that year for a class of school. And anyway, so we had a state championship level cross country team, and I barely made it on the varsity. I was the seventh man, like midway through the season. So I was running in the varsity races, but I was like a mid-pack finisher. I think I ran my 5Ks in like 19 minutes and something. That was good enough to be like mid-pack. I was way back there. While my other teammates whose points counted were, winning the meets and in the top 10, and top 20 finishing in there. So anyway, I was a straggler, but I was a straggler on a very good team. So that's what I can like write home about, So after high school, I never quit running. It was my sport, and I didn't quit all these years until my last year of lacto-ovo vegetarianism. So by the year 2000, I got into running marathons. Before that, I just ran 10Ks and 5Ks, maybe just one or two of those a year just to see where I was at. Other than that, I just ran 4 miles a day, and that was my identity. I mean, it was really a part of my life, is getting up and running almost daily. Yeah. I ran without purpose, though. It was just part of it was just what I did as a physical fitness effort. But I was just regular standard American diet all the way up until I went lacto-ovo vegetarian. I mean, I did eat my high-fiber cereals and stuff, and I ate my vegetables. I drank very little soda pop, but I did drink beer. I did drink alcohol beverages quite a bit over that time, too. So, yeah, like I drink vodka on the weekends, like shots, stuff like that, for like house parties and things. So I did abuse my body in that way throughout the 90s and the early in the 2000s, the aughts I call them, and maybe even up into the teens just a little bit. But in 1999, I ran my first full marathon, and I have done about I lost count after 20 marathons. Yeah, I was not keeping track. When I first started running marathons, I thought I will never forget a marathon. So I wasn't really too, and that was before smartwatches. We didn't have GPS watches back then. Cell phones, we didn't have smartphones with GPS in them back then. You know, it was real old school. We had our Timex Triathlon watch. You watched your watch. You want to know how many miles you ran? You drove it. You drove your route in a car first, and that's how you wrote your stuff down in a calendar. You know, that was our running app, was a freaking paper calendar back in those days. But yeah, now we got everything. I won't run without my Garmin watch. If it, you know, I practically won't. Yeah, I ran without my Garmin watch the other day as I forgot it in a group run, and I had to run with my phone. Recorded it with Strava. I'm on Strava, by the way. You can follow me. Stephen Apel, Oklahoma. How long have I been talking? 21. Okay. I should be able to get this before 30 minutes is up. Really don't want this to be an hour. So, I'm a marathoner. I did get into cycling for a little bit. Did a few trips across Oklahoma in the 2007, I think was the first time I did that. So I tried to do some cycling just as cross training and to supplement my marathoning. Now, when I started running marathons, that was the first time I was really like starting to run. I wanted to be competitive. No dreams of ever winning money. I just wanted to place in my age group, that kind of thing. That was really my only goal, is just be good for my age. And my fastest marathon, now I've done 2 of them this fast, 3 hours and 2 minutes. I've always wanted to break 3. Now I did those 2 probably back-to-back years, and that was here in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon is where both of those happened, and both of my 3:02s. But other than that, I was more of a 3 hour and 15-minute marathoner, and the marathons before that and marathons after that were like in that same range. And then I just kind of started getting a little slower and a little slower. But, you know, like I say, I trained sort of without purpose. I did not follow a plan. Like, I never had 3 20-mile runs before a marathon. The closest I ever got was 2 20-mile marathons, or 2 20-mile runs I had under my belt before. That was probably under one of my, just before one of my 3 hour and 2 minute marathons. But yeah, I just kind of ran about a middle mileage every day. I was just pretty consistent. I didn't skip many days, but I was kind of like, I would run pretty fast. I was always running like 6:45 to 7 minute pace miles, 4 miles a day, every day. And when the marathon got closer, I would start running 6 miles, 7, 8. Maybe I might run a half marathon, you know, in training before. And, you know, my thing was, oh, well, it's just a training run. All I'm doing is just, when I go to the starting line, I'm just running my training run. I'm just not stopping. So I didn't even think of it as racing. I was just running a training run and just hanging on for dear life. And I always like hit the wall so bad and crumbled. But I did get a couple of 3:02s out of it being like that. But now I'm much more disciplined about my training. Well, I say I'm much more disciplined. It's still kind of erratic and sort of lazy, but okay, back to diet. So that's kind of how I've been bouncing around marathoning for years. But back to diet. Somewhere along the lines in let's see, this is 2025. So I've been low carb. I went keto in 2017 in the summer, August 2017, and I never looked back. I found myself carnivore, and that was kind of by accident. It's like just taking the training wheels off. And I think a lot of keto people end up doing that. Those of us in the carnivore lifestyle, we probably started keto. A whole bunch of us probably started off doing the keto diet with eating our leafy greens and all that. And let me tell you, going from a lacto-ovo vegetarian thinking you're saving the planet, I sort of thought that. I was really doing some mental gymnastics to convince myself of that. But that's not really why I did it. It was really more, I thought it was the healthy thing to do. And I thought, I just kind of bought into it's better for the animals. Although nature is ass-ho. I mean, animals don't die very nicely in nature. It's probably, how cows die. This is kind of how I think about it now. I eat a lot of cow now. But, this is just touching on the environmentalism and animal activism side of this. I've always been a bleeding heart for animals. I mean, I have a dog and cat, and, we love them to death, They're our companions, and I don't have children. So the animals kind of like are our kids, and we'd do anything for them. And I hate seeing stray dogs, homeless dogs and cats, it breaks my heart. But I have watched plenty of National Geographic as a kid too. And boy, seeing that lonely young bison, or any wildebeest or whatever it is that's in a herd that's not keeping up with the herd or whatever, boy, seeing the big cats go after them, or the hyenas. Oh, terrible way to die. Absolutely terrible way to die, to sit there and be eaten alive, It's like, nature's not very kind. And, when a cow goes through the little trough thing and they get the bolt gun on the back of the head that turns them off like a light bulb. Now, that's the way to go. That's a hell of a lot better than having that cow fight for its life against a pack of wolves or hyenas, for half an hour, just anyway, that's like subject for another video. I'm just hitting on a little bit of everything for this, just to kind of get to know where I'm coming from. And so I've got all kinds of thoughts on, why I'm gone carnivore. And my goal for this channel is just to be another voice out there. I just want to be another voice out there. Okay, what I'm screen sharing here, this is my favorite YouTuber right now, No Carb Life. There's a bunch of good YouTubers. Phil Escott, great guy in England, lovely guy. Fell in love with his channel and his content several years ago. Of course, Dr. Sean Baker, and let's see, who else? Ken Berry, Anthony Chafee. All of us low-carb people know all these people. They've become kind of the rock stars in the low-carb world. And they're all... We need to keep this movement going, I think. Although I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. If you're a vegan, knock yourself out. Keep being vegan. If it's working for you, I believed in it too. I totally understand why they're there. And I used to follow Fully Raw Christina. I thought she was kind of hot. She had a sexy voice. I still check in with her and her content once in a while. What's another vegan? Unnatural Vegan? Yeah, I even check in with her content. She's still going. I don't know about Fully Raw Christina. It's been a few months since I've checked in on her. But yeah, there was a few of the vegans, I still, hey man, my heart goes out to them. If they think they're doing the right thing, that's all we can do, is we think we're doing the right thing. I would only fault somebody if they're lying. If they're knowingly lying and deceiving people and, cheating. There was this one vegan, I remember, she was caught outside. She was eating with somebody, and it was like a little outdoor seating area. And I guess a fan or something came by and like was videoing her or whatever. and she was supposed to be a vegan, and she had meat on her plate, and I think it was fish, and she saw somebody's video on her, and she kind of put her hands over her thing. I felt sorry for her. I mean, I'm like, oh, how embarrassing would that be? It's like, but she was keeping the vegan thing going, because I mean, that was probably her living. I don't anticipate on having hundreds of thousands of followers on here. I don't ever expect to make a dime off of this YouTube channel. I'm just a guy, just kind of giving you my experiences with it. And like I say, I went keto and I'm not looking back. But boy, I've got a lot of funny content to make about that transition. It is really something. But I'm going to wrap this up. My coffee's getting cold. I just wanted to let you know I'm really a runner, and I am in my 5th midlife crisis, and I've got stuff to prove. I would really like to get fast again. Now here I'm stuck at, I'll show you some of my last performances here. Here's my Garmin, and my Garmin Connect here account. Let's see, activities. Okay. Like today, Oklahoma City running. Okay, this is a 4.5 mile run I did today with a few people. And I run a little bit independent. So the people I run with run at a little slower pace than I do. I averaged 8:39 per mile. They're in the 9, just a little over 9 is what they typically do. And we're running through downtown Oklahoma City and early in the morning. It's kind of hilly. There's some gentle hills in there, and then some kind of long, steeper. But I run and I zigzag behind them, so I'll turn a corner, run down the street just a little bit, and then I'll turn right around and come back, and then that'll put a big gap between me and them, and then I'll catch up to them, and then I'll do it again. That's how I get. They're running 4 miles, I'm running 4.5. It's typically what happens. Yeah, this was a 4.5 mile run, averaged 8:39, and my heart rate, I've been paying attention to that recently, because there's this whole low heart rate training that, so I've dabbled in that. It's like run slow to go fast, and we used to call that back in the day before we had heart rate monitors and any fancy equipment. We called that LSD, long, slow distance. So it was just conversational pace, and that's still what it is. We just have heart rate monitors to actually see a number with it. And I think, I'm not sure about my heart rate zones. I would need to go get tested, VO2 max test or something, and really see where my heart rate zones are. But I have yet to pull the trigger on that. Although, hey, here's another thing about me. When I went keto, just before that, I thought this would kill you. It's suicide by food. But I was afraid I was becoming a diabetic. But that's subject for another video. I'll go into detail on these real specifics and why I did what I did, the transition I did. But I've gotten 2 calcium score scans in my life. One was after I went keto a few years. And the first one was when I was, I think just before I went vegan and then lacto-vegetarian. The first one I had was a long time ago. I was kind of doing the standard American diet, but a healthy version of it. I scored a 1. Okay, perfect is 0. That means no detectable calcium deposits in your arteries around the heart. I scored a 1. And the scan tech person at the hospital actually pointed it out to me on the scan. She had like an image up, and I could actually see the very bright white little bone fragments or whatever. Like, she says that looks like it's probably it, but you'll get an official report in the mail later. But she was just pointing it out to me while I was there, just for poo-poos and giggles, I guess. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had a sheet that said what the score ranges were. So what the low to moderate risk and, high and damn it, you better get surgery now kind of levels. So I got the number range. I was like 1. I was like 30. I think I was like maybe 35 or 36 at the time, something like that. And I was damn proud of that. I scored a 1. And a friend of mine that was having it at the same time had an 11. So that was just barely at the top of the low risk, I think. So anyway, fast forward quite a few years. I go vegan, lacto vegetarian for a while, and then low carb keto. I start eating a diet that is supposed to kill me. And I go and get a heart scan again. Me and the wife. It was a couples deal is how you got the discount price. But anyway, it was in their new multi-million-dollar scan machine. They were bragging about it at this imaging center that was doing the heart. Now, this was a heart and lung scan, so it was a little more, covered more area, but they gave you the calcium score was part of that, the heart scan. And I was shocked after, like, let's see, 2017, 18, 19, 20. I think it was in 2020 or 2021. I got that. So I had been eating enough fat. I ate more fat in animal fat and meat in that 3 years after going keto. I ate more animal fat in those 3 years than I probably did in the 10 years before I went vegan, not including my vegan years. I mean 10 years of how much meat I would have eaten back when I ate the standard American diet. I didn't hardly eat much meat. Meat was kind of expensive. All the carbs, I lived on vegetables and ramen noodles. That was a lot of my diet was steamed frozen vegetables and ramen noodles. And yeah. So anyway, but my second scan after 3 years of eating keto, I kind of expected a higher than 1, because 1 was what I had quite a few years before that. And I was like, okay, now I've probably got an 11 or a 50 or something like that by now, because, I'm getting up there. I'm almost 50 years old at the time there. Or was I 50? I'm not sure. I'm 53 now. Anyway, whatever I was in 2020. Late 40s. Really late 40s. I get the results back. I scored a 0. A 0. That's perfect. That's no detectable calcium deposits in the arteries. No calcified plaque. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had a 1 many years before. And the tech even pointed out and showed it to me. And I'm like, my calcified plaque went away. Now, like it wasn't a bunch, but I went from a 1, and I could see it, to this new multi-million-dollar machine scored me a 0. Either I accidentally got somebody else's results or what, but I don't think so. Anyway, I'd like to go back and get another one, because now I've been like carnivore, been eating more meat, just minus all the leafy greens. When I went keto, I was still eating like cabbage and kale, spinach. Oh, I ate some monster salads. Yeah. But then I just found myself I kind of let that stuff go. I just kind of quit buying it. And am I at 30 minutes yet? Holy cow. Okay, I'm wrapping this up. I've rambled long enough, but I think I've covered quite a bit. I think you've gotten to know me quite a bit. Oh, the grunge music that I say, I still love that stuff. I listen to it now and then. If I'm listening to a radio station in a car, if I'm not watching YouTube video, what I live on is YouTube. That's my TV. We quit our cable TV many years ago, and that's what started me watching vegans, and that's what we do. That's kind of my thing. Is I love learning from other people. I love learning from the vegans. Now I love learning from the keto and low carb and carnivore movement, because what we're after is good health, are we not? That's why we're doing this. And us middle-aged people, we're seeing we're going to be getting older pretty soon, and we want to age gracefully, do we not? Okay, that is enough of that. I'll do another check-in tomorrow. Got to work tomorrow. I'm going to get up early, hopefully run again, if not in the morning at lunch. Right now, I'll go over my marathon performances here. In a, I ran 4 marathons over the last year. I really did a bunch, getting back into running, but they're all slow. I'm a 4-hour marathoner at the moment, and damn it, I used to be damn near a 3-hour marathoner. That hurts, but I'm trying to get back there, and I'm trying to do it on a low carb diet. Back then, when I was running real fast, I was a standard American diet person, but I always hit the wall. Oh, I did. I got to cut this off, or I'm just going to go forever. I will talk about my marathoning and running after I went keto. It's a positive thing. There was some real good happening there. So I think when I became truly fat adapted, I was really shocked at how little of running. I was still a lazy trainer for the marathon, and I did remarkably well for the amount of running I did, and the pace I did was quite surprising. So anyway, we'll get to that at another time. So all right, until next time, we'll catch you later.